my journey wasn't from IT directly to dough. So, as what happens in corporate America, my job at the time was outsourced.
Right.
Um, and this is after having just become disenchanted with IT for quite a few years now. And just by luck, my wife's employment contract had just been renewed for something like 3 or 5 more years. So she encouraged me. She said, "You know what? We have the guaranteed income.
Yep.
Um, we if we don't have a kid, if you're going to make the leap, and I really hope you do because you're kind of miserable now, now's the time."
And I would just qualify, you didn't have a kid at the time.
We did not. No.
Now we have Dash.
Now we have Daphne. Yes, a kid who's 12 times larger than me. I'm not
Right,
exactly sure how
exactly.
that happened, but
Right. Have to
uh,
give it a little shout out to Dashel.
yes, my baby boy.
Yeah. So at
Um,
the time you didn't. Yes.
yeah, at the time we didn't. So I did it. I took the jump.
And that, my friends, was just a little snippet from my conversation with my guest, Adam Drucker. I mean, come on, how incredible was that? So trust me, you're going to want to hear what comes next. It's truly special. I'm your host, Kathy Sharp Ross, so stay tuned. Welcome to today's episode of The Power of Reinvention. Here we talk with my guests about the dreams, the visions, and the passions that individuals have every day and dare to explore them. Whether it's business or personal, you're entitled to live the life that you want, and no matter what the circumstances, you have the power to create success, fulfill your dreams, and live with passion. That's what I'm talking about. So dare greatly and happy reinventing, folks. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Power of Reinvention. Well, it's the fall. We're actually going into Thanksgiving weekend this weekend, so I think everybody's in a particularly good mood, but I'm super excited because I have a wonderful guest with us here today. His name is Adam Drucker. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Kathy. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. I mean, come on, who cannot be excited about talking about pizza?
I think the only people that could be more excited are the ones actually eating the
I was going to
pizza.
say, I think there is one thing missing right this moment from this conversation. So we're going to have to do a rain check. I'm coming over at some
Good.
point for some, but I have been lucky enough to actually taste your incredible pizza. So this is going to be a super fun story. I'm going to share a bit of your background because I just love your journey that you've been on and where you are today. So I'm going to take a moment to just share a little bit about you.
I
You
appreciate
are
that.
you
Thank
are
you.
really like a great reinvention story. And I think for those who have read my book or heard some of our interviews in the past, this notion of going from one industry to another and just having that aha moment is truly what your journey has been about. I mean,
Yeah.
after success, right? So, little background here for Adam. After a successful career in IT, he left the tech world in 2010 for the kitchen, starting as a dishwasher at Paradise Cove and rising into management before joining Susan Feniger and Mary Sue Milliken's Border Grill, which just blows my mind because truly one of my favorite restaurants in the city. To
Fantastic
run their,
place.
you worked on their food truck business,
Yeah.
right? You helped them
Yeah.
build all of that.
Yeah, I did. And
Amazing.
I worked directly with those two and two fabulous individuals. Oh, they're so amazing to work with.
I mean, truly some of the best in the business. So
Yeah.
that must have been an incredible experience.
I
And
was so
then
lucky.
Yeah, and then in 2012, he launched Big Mango Cafe, expanding to 2 locations before exiting ahead of COVID. Well, interesting timing, right? So during lockdown, Adam had what I call an aha moment. And what's so fun is that I think so many people, as my book came out right then on the precipice of COVID, it was March 7th, 2020 was my pub date. And I asked a lot of people in my book and then in all of the thousands of virtual chat events that we had to sort of have that pause and reflect moment. You clearly did, and you didn't even know about my book, but you set
No.
out to perfect pizza dough
Yeah.
for a standard home oven. I think everybody was doing the COVID thing and getting pizza ovens and
Yeah.
baking bread and doing all these things. And you said, no, we don't need a pizza oven to make great pizza.
No, no more appliances, no more expense. I don't want another propane tank. I don't want another storage thing. Just no.
I love it. So you literally grew a dough and catering venture. So we're
Yes.
going to talk all about this journey today. I'm really excited because it's super fun. First of all, I have to thank the amazing person in your life, Rita, who is a precious friend of so long, who is your wife and one of my favorite
Yes.
humans and probably one of yours too.
One of my favorite too.
Lucky because I was at an event recently that we were all at, and you were doing the pizza for
Yeah.
the event. And it was a bit of an aha moment for me going, what? Wait, what? You're doing what? And so herein lies the conversation because nobody loves a reinvention story more than I do.
Pizza to
And
podcast. Here I am.
my God, look at that. I love it. So, Adam, I gotta ask, like, who was little Adam? Like, did you in the one, I mean, you came from IT business wise, but was there
Yes.
ever some fancy in the kitchen when you were young or at some point in your life that kind of drew you to that? Like, who was little Adam? Like, let's start there.
So little Adam grew up in a house right under the flight path for Van Nuys Airport. My mom's house is actually still there. So aviation played a big part. I would just go out in the backyard and look straight up, and there's jets and propeller planes flying overhead. Aviation, that's what little Adam was interested in.
Right.
Little Adam ate food cooked by a fantastic mother who could not cook. So, when you're a kid, you never put it takes you a while to put two and two together. I always wondered why I could, when I had sleepovers at my friends' homes, and it was dinner time, we had these meals that had flavor and they were delicious and I wanted to eat them. That was kind of the opposite experience that I got at my home. So that
Huh?
was really the extent of my culinary
Exposure.
exposure at that
Right.
time. Yeah. Um, the funny story I like to tell related to that in college, when your friends go home for college break, like for winter break, and everybody comes back afterwards, the stories are, oh, my mom made me this, my mom made me my favorite that, oh, I had my mom make me this. Me, I just wanted takeout.
It's funny.
So that was my mom's
You're like,
cooking.
it's my
That's what.
safe. You're like, it's my safe place, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's some wonderful Chinese or Mexican. I'll take either. Just don't cook, mom. Yeah.
It's hysterical.
So
I
yeah,
love that.
that was my early exposure to culinary. I knew there was something else out there. Didn't know
But it
that it
wasn't. Well, that's fascinating. I mean, really
yeah,
fascinating. You didn't grow up in mama's kitchen around the stove with this passion
not at
for cooking.
all.
And I've worked with a lot of chefs and clients that have been very well known and famous chefs in my life. A lot of them have that kind of an origin story of, yeah, I grew up in my grandmother, my nonna, my this, my that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
what you're doing right now is so extraordinary. And I love that it just shows that pivot from what we are going to talk about, which is where you started career wise, which was
Right.
IT and tech. Um, did you sort of just like fall into that? Was that something very deliberate as you were going through school that you realized there was something intriguing in that alone that you were in that space?
So I believe that was my first aha moment. Um, I guess you could argue my very first one was when I was a kid, and I said, "Hey, I want to fly airplanes." I eventually did make that dream come true. I am actually a pilot. Um,
Wow.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you before when you were saying that, but I was like, was it, that you wanted to fly a plane, that you were enamored by the building of planes? So thank you. That answered that question
There
for
you
me.
go.
Yeah.
Um, but my first aha moment was I took what I graduated with my degree in economics. Um, in college, I took only one computer class, and I was almost kicked out of that class a few times because I kept correcting the professor. Um,
Whoops.
young and dumb, just saying, "Oh, I'm just going to correct him in the middle of all the other students." Not
Well
the wisest
done.
idea. Thank you. Not yeah.
It's a way to get
But
noticed, but not the right way, right? Or maybe.
yes, both actually.
Yeah.
But that led to my aha moment of like, oh wait, this stuff, computers, networking, it makes sense. I get it. And so I, I just before I graduated, I went around to all my econ professors and I said, "Hey, I'm getting this wonderful economics degree. What do I do?" And they said, "Adam, you could do anything." I was like, "That's fantastic. Just the answer I wanted to hear." Like what? Well, anything. Cool. A little more specific? Whatever you want. Okay, thank you. So that led nowhere. By luck, I had a friend working at some software company. He said, "Hey, you know computers, you know more than me. You want to come work here?" I said, "Are you paying me real money?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Sold." And that was it.
That was it.
And
Amazing.
that I I I learned a bit more, went on to another job, learned a bit more, and just continued to take the education I got from each job and build upon that. And yeah.
And, it's amazing because I feel like many people go through life being able to build a career and a business and make money and support their families and their lifestyle doing exactly that in the most wonderful way. They're perfectly happy. Some of us kind of have this gnawing feeling that there might be something else we want to do. And, we sweep it under the rug, we put it off, we feel like that's a fantasy. And, it would be nice, but this is really where I can make money. And, things don't always have to be about career and making money. There's a lot of places in our lives, that, whether it's health or relationships or hobbies or, spirituality or fitness. I mean, there's so many parts of our lives that we can tweak. But at some point, there was a shift, right? There was
Yeah.
a, do you want to talk about what that was and why? And how did you first kind of acknowledge or sweep it under the rug, the first gnawing feeling you had in this journey to get you where you are now?
It's easy to sweep things under the rug when people are handing you a golden broom.
Oh,
I was making money. I was making money. Uh, Yeah, each day was a little more difficult to get up and go to work. You know, eh, week after week, each Sunday night felt a little more ominous because I knew what
yeah,
Monday had. And after almost 15 years in the industry and being successful and making money and whatnot, I just I couldn't anymore. It was grinding on me, and I didn't like it. And I had really just felt what was happening was I was working doctor's hours without the pay.
yeah,
Um, and sorry, I'm trying to exactly remember
yeah. No, it's
the
great.
order. I picked up a book called On Food and Cooking by Mark Bittman. And before that, I had always been interested in food, but I always saw it as this fine art. You had to go to the Culinary Institute of America. You had to spend 2 or 3 years getting screamed at in France. You
Right,
had to go work in a kitchen and get screamed at there.
right,
You had to do all these things. You couldn't be a chef. Me be a chef. I knew computers.
right.
That's it.
Absurd concept, right? Who would?
nuts.
And what would
I'm a te-
everybody that knows you say?
They'd be like, "Oh, I'm sure
That's
that's nice attempt,
right.
yummy, but let's order in." Um, so because I'm a techie guy, and that's why I was so good at computers and networking, because I see things in more of a technical, scientific way, less of an artistic way. And in this book, I'm reading it, and the author approaches everything from a very technical standpoint and a scientific standpoint. Like, if you cook this thing, the proteins are going to denature after this amount of time at this temperature. And all this stuff that most people find really boring. And for
Oh,
me,
it was,
aha,
yeah, no,
I
that
understand
makes
it.
perfect sense. Yep.
I think I need to try to do this thing that I'm really interested in. Like, I'm watching Chef Emeril Lagasse and Ming Tsai on TV and going, wow, that's so cool. I wish I could do that. After reading just the first chapter of that book, it was just a chapter on milk. And you think milk, okay, big deal. I mean, milk is a miracle ingredient. And that techie scientific explanation of
Right.
how to use ingredients, how they interact with each other, instead of just, oh, you just have to feel the food and you have to know when it smells just right. I don't know that. I need indicators. I need real
That spoke to
data,
you
I
though,
guess.
right? That really spoke to
Spoke
you.
right to me.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And so that made me realize, aha, I think maybe it might be time to pursue this thing that's, like you said, kind of been gnawing at me, but I've been sweeping under the rug.
Well, I love your comment about the golden broom. That's fabulous. That's a drop mic comment right there. It's clever. I've never heard for all the times I've said things about people sweeping something under the rug. That's really interesting. So you chose to go into a part of the food journey that is very specific, right? Like you didn't say, okay, I'm intrigued. I get it. There's more to this cooking thing than I ever imagined. Why pizza dough? And what was that kind of momentum in the story for you of I'm intrigued, this has got my attention, and oh, I have a family that I need to co-support.
Hmm.
And, can't just as I always say to people, just because you have like an epiphany and you want to do something, you cannot leave the family and friends in the wake. You really have to consider all of those around you in that journey because otherwise it can get a little reckless and selfish and not
Sure.
nice to do that. But if we do it the right way, and whether it's a 5 minute or a 20-year reinvention, there is a journey one goes on. So, what was that sort of epiphany in that moment and that next step like for you?
Well, for me, that's a few different parts,
Yes.
I guess. So the my journey wasn't from IT directly to dough. So, as what happens in corporate America, my job at the time was outsourced.
Right.
Um, and, this is after having just become disenchanted with IT for quite a few years now. And just by luck, my wife's my wife's employment contract had just been renewed for something like 3 or 5 more years. So she encouraged me. She said, "You know what? We have the guaranteed income.
Yep.
Um, we if we don't have a kid, if you're going to make the leap, and I really hope you do because you're kind of miserable now, now's the time."
And I would
And
just qualify, you didn't have a kid at the time.
we did
We
not know.
now we have Dash.
Now we have Dashiell, yes, a kid who's 12 times larger than me. I'm not
Right,
exactly sure how
exactly.
that happened, but
Right. Have to
uh,
give it a little shout out to Dashel.
yes, my baby boy.
Yeah. So at
Um,
the time you didn't. Yes.
yeah, at the time we didn't. So, I did it. I took the jump. I took the leap with my wife's encouragement, but luckiest guy in the world to have married her. And so from there, once again, by luck, we happen to know a gentleman by the name of Bob Morris. Bob Morris is the owner of Paradise Cove Beach Cafe.
Yep.
I went to meet with Bob. Just to ask Bob. I got this crazy idea. Goodbye computers, hello food. What do you think? Can you point me in the right direction or give me some advice?
Yeah.
Um, Bob was a no bullshit kind of guy, so he said, "Yeah, come here tomorrow and go in the kitchen." So I did.
I love
Um,
that. I mean, this
and
is like I get goosebumps because when I think about the freedom that your lifestyle with Rita allowed for you to have that moment,
oh, it's a
it
blessing.
is so precious. And not everybody gets that, but they can create different versions of it. So it's
True.
not impossible for anybody with time and access and what have you. So I'm thrilled for you that you were able to take advantage of a moment like that and had the courage to do it. Because not everybody has the courage. They may have the ability, but not the courage to do it.
It was scary. It
Yeah,
was
I can
really
imagine.
scary. I had never worked in a professional kitchen.
Yeah,
Um, I had never washed, 1,000 pounds of dishes, and it was 2 or 3 weeks of exhaustion and confusion and fear and a crash course in Spanish, and I was in love, hooked. Like,
amazing.
I was beat to hell at the end of the
Yeah,
day, and I was
loved it.
perfectly happy to go back and do it again.
It says
So
a lot.
I worked my way through pretty much every position in the whole restaurant over a period of about 2 years, because Bob knew that I wanted to learn. And boy, did I. Oh my God. Um, Left there and went to work at the Border Grill, managing the food truck operations for Susan Feniger and Mary Sue Milliken. Um, Realized I did not want to do anything on a food truck because it's really hard.
Yeah,
Um, Even with the support of a restaurant kitchen, which they had at the
right.
the Border Grill location. Left that place, I don't know, after about a year or so, and found my future business partner with whom I opened up Big Mango Cafe. That went on for about 7 years,
Amazing.
7, 8 years. Opened up a second location near LAX.
Amazing.
Um, as also happens in business, sometimes relationships go south.
Oh, yes.
Um, so it was time for me to say goodbye to the business and, it was a planned exit and went smooth and nice and all that. And that was just before COVID hit.
Okay, so at this point, you now understand the back house of kitchen. You understand the front house, the front of the house of the kitchen. You understand the kitchen and what it takes to run a restaurant. And
And I know how to cook a lot more
and
now.
you I was gonna say, and you must have been well exposed, right, to cooking.
Oh yeah.
Um,
There's
so
sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you, but there
No,
is
please.
nothing like having a chef scream at you in English and Spanish for a solid 4 hours, calling it Tortuga, hurry up, Tortuga, because I was slower than everybody else. There's nothing like that to hammer in recipes and methods and in your head.
So when you watch The Bear, which I'm sure you've watched,
Oh yeah.
how do you feel when you see that experience? Is it relatable on some
It
way?
That is what people need to understand. That is one experience in a
Yes.
kitchen. It gives me a little anxiety.
Right, I'm sure.
It does.
Right.
It does. I learned early on though, and this is something that a lot of chefs need to learn. None of it's personal.
Right.
When I was getting yelled at or being made to clean the walk-in freezer, or just horrible things like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because the chef disliked me. He just knew I could do the job.
Right.
And when he yelled at me for doing something wrong, okay, I did it wrong. It was never personal, and so
Right.
it never discouraged me, which
Amazing.
is which helped me continue along my journey.
Right.
Because I found out that Bob actually told the chef to be extra hard on me,
Right.
because he didn't want just some guy coming in, taking up resources,
Right.
only to go, this whole restaurant thing is stupid or tough. He
Right.
wanted this chef to like abuse me,
Right.
and
And if you really got thick skin and you really want to be here, you were going to stay. And
I
clearly you
did.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So fast forward, you said
Yes.
that we're now pre-COVID
Correct. I've left.
and
Yeah.
you've
Left the
left the
cafe.
restaurant, you've left the cafe, and now where were you in that moment when COVID started? Back home, like everybody.
Like everybody, and my pizza making picked up pace because now I had more time to experiment with it. But every dough, no matter what grocery store I bought it from, it they all had the same qualities: dense, heavy, flavorless, um, just 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 not good dough.
Yeah.
And so I'm making up pizzas, and I don't want to order in a pizza because I don't think they taste very good. And the pizzas I was making, just I couldn't get them to come out good, no matter what I was trying. So since I had time, and since everybody and their mother was making bread, I thought, let's see what this is all about.
I love that.
And I found a recipe, just a generic recipe, and I tried it because you got to have pizza. And it was a same day dough. So I made it in the morning and proofed it all day. And then at night, made it. And it was a revelation. Like
What
this
was
thing,
it that
this thing baked up with a beautiful, puffy, light crust. The base was sturdy, like it wasn't this floppy, yucky mess. The bottom was kind of leopard spotted in it, and there were char marks around there. And most importantly, the dough had some flavor. Like just eating the crust, no sauce or cheese or anything, the bread itself had flavor. And this came out of my home kitchen oven, something that almost every house in America already has.
that's unbelievable.
It
And
was a
how many
revelation.
how many incarnations of this dough did you have to go through? Like the testing levels, like 200 versions, 20 versions, like you must have experimented a lot and you must have eaten a lot.
Oh yeah.
How many, like,
Proudly.
right?
How so over the course of the next almost 2 years, every Friday night became pizza night, and this was all done in the name of research and development.
I love
Eh,
it. I want to do
Um,
this in the chocolate world.
oh, highly recommend it. Uh, and so I would every week I took a deep dive. I When I get into something, I get into it. Like for example, I wanted to learn to fly an airplane. I got into it and got my license. I wanted something more out of this dough. I wanted it to have very certain qualities. And so I needed to learn about flour and gluten and the interaction of all these things when yeast and proofing. So each week I would learn a bit more. I just gobble up as much information as I could. Most of it for free from on the internet,
Yeah.
and just information. And I would take what I learned, tweak my recipe, make a batch of dough. I eventually learned about long cold proofing, so which builds more flavor. So, for me to mix the dough to when I could make a pizza, it's about a 4-day process. Yeah, what that does is it builds up a astounding amount of flavor.
Ha
Um,
ha.
that's right,
That's
dad
right.
joke. Um, so each week I learn more, make my batch of dough, test it on Friday night, and just iterate over the next almost 2 years. Yeah, like 18, 20 months until I finally got, you know, the recipe that I could replicate that gave me exactly the qualities I wanted, that worked in any home kitchen oven, whether it was a 30-year-old piece of crap
Yep.
or a brand new super duper, it could
State of
operate
the
a
art.
space
Right.
shuttle thing. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Uh, Um, and most importantly, I could freeze it for long-term storage. It would defrost with nothing more but sitting around on your counter and still did exactly what I wanted it to do.
Amazing. Amazing. So the name of the company is Dr. Doe. Where did I mean, it feels like a natural, but was there an evolution? Was it a spontaneous moment over a piece of pizza and a glass of wine? Like, where did the name come from?
The name, so after one of my successful pizza nights, after I yeah, basically knew what I was doing, my wife proclaimed that, "Wow, you're like a doctor for pizza night." And I said, "Yeah, you know what? That's really interesting. And also it really is all about the dough. You know, it's not just about the great toppings and whatnot. It really you got to start with a
You're
good
right.
dough,
Yeah.
Doctor Dough.
I mean, that's amazing because you're
That's
right.
it.
People do comment all the time on the pizza crust when they get a pizza.
Exactly.
Oh, it's like a New York pizza. It must be made with New York water. Oh, like it is the
Which,
go-to
by the way,
factor, which is that a fallacy?
let's just put that myth to rest right now.
Thank you.
Anybody who
Yes.
has the money to ship water across the country from New York to LA to
Uh-huh.
put in their pizza dough, they're selling you something that just no,
No,
that's just
that's
not
a big no.
viable in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Sorry to
clarifying
interrupt
that.
you.
No, it must be, I love New York, marketing 101. What could I say? Right?
Right.
I mean, that's amazing. You have arrived at this incredible place. Where does one get Dr. Doe's pizza dough? How is it available to all of us?
Right. I have an online store set up. You can visit docdough.com, and one of the pages on there is get your balls. So you can
Love
go there and
it.
buy your dough balls. Um, what else? I'm currently at a night market, the 818 night market, which pops up in
Yeah.
Mission Hills. So I'm there making pizza and also selling dough.
Amazing.
And I need to try to get myself into farmers markets. Through this experience, I've learned a night market, people are there to buy food to eat there.
Right.
Farmers markets, people are there to buy food to eat at home. So I need to. Dr. Dough was born because of the dough. I did actually sell the dough. It was actually my wife's suggestion. She said, "Hey, I think other people might be interested in kind of upping
Uh-huh.
their pizza game because all
Oh,
our friends,
totally.
everybody uses the same dough. You know, you get it from this grocery store, that
Yeah.
grocery store, and we all say the same thing. You know, you wind up feeling like you have a brick in your stomach,
Yeah.
and it's just eh." So yeah,
Unbelievable.
it was her idea. So yeah, I want to expand into more farmers markets and just have to jump through a few hoops
Right. Well,
and
that's the
expand
process,
it.
right? And look, this is why I love this conversation because somebody out there is hearing this going, hey, I've got a great idea. I want this. I need this. I know somebody. That's how we grow a business. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for 37 years. And, if you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't put it out there, people don't know what you're doing. And I love the story. I also feel like what the journey you've been on, really, Adam, is so many people's stories listening with envy of the courage that you had to pivot, to do the work, to roll up your sleeves, as you literally probably had to do, and to sort of say, hey, I really believe in myself enough to want to do something that I believe in is going to be fun and interesting for me. I talk often around the topic of reinvention about all of us needing to feel entitled to live the life that we want and to create it. And it may take 5 minutes. It may take 20 years, but if you put one foot in front of the other and you have that dream in mind, that goal in mind, it's like setting your GPS when you get in the car. If you know where you're going, you may have some detours and some bumps in the roads and some roadblocks, but if you know your ultimate destination, the navigation system is going to help you find out how to get to that end point. And that is much like what we have to do in our lives. And so allowing ourselves to have that dream or that vision for what we want, and then figuring out how to get to our true north, which is what you're doing. And goodness knows, I can't wait to see what the next chapter is, because I'm sure with all the tinkering in the kitchen, as we say, there's probably something else brewing, which may or may not be the case. And if not now, maybe in the future or not, because of who knows where this business is going to go. But this is it's so exciting for me. I get goosebumps thinking about what you've been able to realize for yourselves. And
Thank you.
I can say from firsthand, from having tasted and eaten your amazing pizza dough, that it did bubble and it did have this incredible, oh my God, like I want a piece right now. I need some. I need to go to, what is it?
Thank you for saying
Doc Dough, right?
Doc Doe.
DOC
Yeah.
Dough,
Yep.
DOUGH.com.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm going to put all the details in the show notes for anybody listening that doesn't have a pen or something handy. Just know that it's in the show notes. I've got one fun last question, and this
Yeah.
pertains to food, so it's really particularly fun to ask you. But that if you were to have a dinner party and could have 3 or 4 interesting people around that table to talk
Oh,
about anything you chose, but clearly it's going to be over one of your 2 or 3 or 4 of your pizzas. Who might that be? Who would be really interesting or inspiring for you?
I know. There is a guy, his name is Rich Myers. He owns a bakery in England called Get Baked. Um, there was a huge controversy over, are you ready for it? Sprinkles. The UK press dubbed it Sprinklegate. It was that big of a deal. Most ridiculous thing in the world. Anyways, this tiny little bake shop in northern England, through foul language on Instagram, through doing exactly the opposite of what everybody should have done,
Right.
a few years after nearly losing his business, and this was just a modest business, it wasn't huge. After he is now the most sought after confectioner in all of England.
Wow.
He had to get a massive warehouse to accommodate all these new orders. He's a success story beyond, exactly by doing everything he should not have. And
Fascinating.
I would love to have him at the table, A, because of his quick wit and his foul language, and just to say, like, dude, what were you thinking?
Right.
And how did that work?
I love that. Well, that's kind of my question to you, Adam. Dude, what were you thinking? And wow, I'm watching it work, so it's fascinating
What was
to
I
see this.
thinking? In the beginning, I wasn't thinking anything. I just wanted good pizza.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
And then I started making this thing and I put a lot of effort into it, nearly two years of dough. That's a lot. After the product came to be and I could replicate it and it was consistent and it worked across whatever oven I shoved it into, I just I started to believe in the product itself. And so
right,
when my wife made this suggestion, like, hey, maybe someone else might want this. It is COVID. You're unemployed like most everybody else. Maybe you could turn this into something. I
right.
thought, you know what? This is some good shit. Maybe
Yeah.
Yes, I think I can.
I love it.
Let's
I
let's
love it.
try it. Let's give it a go.
Amazing. You are such an amazing example of just really taking that moment in your life and exploring and creating that
Thank you.
reinvention moment. And I just like it. It makes me so happy to hear this because I think so many people just need to hear that you can do it. And, you
You
know,
can, it let me say again though, I still don't know if I know what I'm doing.
it's okay.
I'm still scared.
Yep.
Um, I I I still look at my wife and go, is this correct?"
Right.
There's still a lot of there's still a lot of fear in there. There's still a lot of unknown. There's still a lot of, can I turn this into a buck? Can I actually make something so I could support my wife who's been supportive of me?
Right.
Can I actually show my son that, look at, you can take nothing and build it into
Build
something
something. Yeah.
and and have it work for you and be a successful part of your life. I still don't know if I could do any of that, but I really like where I am now.
That's
And
amazing. There's a
I'm
lot to be
feeling
said for
really
that.
fulfilled and I'm
Yeah.
feeling really good when I have someone like you compliment me on my work. I so like I
Well,
said, don't
we
know, but
need to share you and Dr. Doe with a lot more people. I mean, the
great.
fact that all of us can be making pizza like that in our own kitchen without more equipment,
Yeah,
without more appliances, that's the beauty of it. And I think that that's what makes it really special and fun and delicious, which I know firsthand.
it's also it, being in the kitchen and cooking and whatnot, having not grown up with that, as I told you in the beginning, it's a great way to bring the family together. It's a great
Yeah.
way just to put all the crap aside. And especially if you have young kids, you
Yeah.
want let a young kid get flour all over their hands and sprinkle cheese everywhere.
And pick the toppings
Best
and
thing.
right.
It's
No,
the
it
when my
is.
son was younger, and granted, I wasn't using my dough, I was using the store-bought
Right.
dough, but we still had great time. He's pushing out the dough, and he did a crappy job, but so what?
Didn't
We were
matter.
having fun, and
Yes.
cheese everywhere, flour everywhere. It's just a great family event. It's
Yeah,
a
you're
it's a
right.
great friends event
Yep.
also.
No, you're
Yeah,
100% right. Those moments are really precious, and we have to sort of really, you know, harness those a little bit more and make them a part of our lives. And I think
because that's what this is all
that's the beauty
about.
of it. Yeah, it
That's really
is.
what this is
It
all
is.
about. Build something so you can take a step back and enjoy the moments like we just discussed. Yeah.
Adam, you are doing it, and I love it. And I'm so grateful for you being here to share your story, to
Thank you
share
for having
your
me on. I
journey.
appreciate
Oh,
it.
it's the best. It is the best. And I think, gosh, with the holidays coming and everybody having downtime between now and the end of the year, to find those moments to do exactly that is such a great idea. So I am going to make sure that everybody knows exactly where to get your dough, your
Thank
fabulous
you.
docdough.com website. And I'm looking forward to hanging out more with you and Rita and
Yes, I want
Dashiell
to
and
cook you
all
more and
our
make you some
friends.
more of my
Yeah,
wild
I'm
pizzas.
ready. I am ready for it. I'm coming over.
Sounds good.
And thank you, Adam. Such a
Thank you.
pleasure. And for those listening, thank you so much for tuning in. You know that you can go to the Reinvention Exchange. You can hear former episodes, get a copy of my book, Reinvent Your Life. What are you waiting for? Get inspired, get motivated. Adam's story is the ultimate reinvention story. Find something you're passionate about and just go make it happen. So have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season and a happy
Happy holidays
reinventing,
to you.
everybody. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks for listening to The Power of Reinvention. If you enjoyed this episode, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review the show. Wouldn't mind a 5-star review, it would be greatly appreciated. Also, be sure to visit thereinventionexchange.com to share your reinvention stories, suggest a guest, join the newsletter mailing list, get access to my book, which is called Reinvent Your Life, What Are You Waiting For?, and discover fantastic bonus content with my blogs, and listen in to the Reinvention Virtual Chat series. Don't forget to join me next week for another episode. Please share with a friend, and thank you for listening. Happy reinventing.